Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to race number 7 of the final season of the PCSRA Foster Series powered by the WRA. D DeVoyle's here with you at Talladega Superspeedway. The YouTube producer and engineer back at our World Racing Association studios. It is time for our second restrictor plate race here at Talladega. Getting ready for the running of the Aaron's 499, or no, it's the Geico 500. It was called the Aaron's 499, but we'll call it the Geico 500. 66 laps of racing for these drivers here today. A McShane, it's our first career pole in the Foster Series, her first pole of the season. She is on the pole position. The problem for her, though, she dropped 5 spots down to 9th in the points table. So she'll look to bounce back here this weekend. Chase Brooks, on the other hand, he's had a dreadful season. He has 40th in points, dead last of the drivers that have run every race this season. Manuel Hartnett in row number 2. Hartnett comes into this race 21st in the points, so he'll need a good result. And Ben Erickson, who raced his way in via the Go or Go Home qualifying you saw yesterday, he is starting in 4th. You look at basically the rest of the starting lineup as we're going to go ahead and get this race underway. Don't know why I have the ticker up, but that's fine. I'm watching a football game on my TV, so hope y'all don't mind about that. It's Denver, New England. So, yeah. Also, as I'm recording this, the race at Sonoma for the Winston Cup Series is wrapping up. They're like in the late stages of that race. Here's your points coming in this race. S Ozkan has a 9-point lead over L Grainger. M Zain, our former winner this season, he is third in the standings, 31 points back, 34 back. D Ebrahimian is fourth. P Minnick is 40 points back in fifth, tied with R Andersen, who is sixth. William Davis is seventh, 44 points back. Elena Ricci is 45 points back in eighth. A McShane R Polster is ninth, 49 points back of the points leader. And Jessica Parker, who won the last restrictor plate race at Daytona, complete your top 10. Zane is third. We know that. We know Jessica Parker is 10th in points. Other former winners that are still inside the top 30 as far as the charter drivers, because the non-charter drivers, it really doesn't matter if they get a win. They won't be in the playoffs because they're outside the top 30 in points, and they won't make every race this season. Quinton Moore, last week's winner, jumped up 10 spots to 14th in the standings. Let's see, going further down the points, Jacob Foster dropped the spot down to 20th in the points. He needs to remain in the top 30 in the points to have his win count for a spot into this season's chase for the championship. And the only one who is a former winner outside the top 30 in points are Tatiana Naguera and Danny Rand. Naguera is in this race. Danny Rand failed to qualify. As here we come, green flag in the air for the Geico 500 here at Talladega. I can tell you this, we are not going to go caution free in this race. I can guarantee you that. A lot cooler today than it was yesterday. It was 70 degrees. It's now in the 60s and it's cloudy, so the track has a lot more grip than sunny conditions. So these cars are going to have a lot of interesting, going to be handling a lot differently versus if it was in sunny conditions. Grace Takayama led that first lap as we're 4 wide. We're also 4 wide back there. Don't know who was four wide as the Daytona winner. That would be Jessica Parker has gone to the race lead. But here comes Kyle Langland, and here comes Carolina Bradley to the inside. Carolina Bradley knows a win gets her in the playoffs, providing she remains in the top 30 in the points. As my keyboard wants to be a darping hyena. So I'm waiting for this to be timed perfectly because, like I said, the premiere for the Winston Cup deal is almost over. They're on the last lap of the race over there. Not going to spoil who won. As here comes Danielle Wooder in the 20. This is her home race. She is from the Alabama area, and this track is the closest she will get to a home race. Comes Emily Andersen, that 60 car. As they're four wide for the race lead. Four wide is okay. The problem with four wide, though, is if you start leaning on one another, we're going to see the dreaded big one we always will talk about. We didn't see that at Daytona. We will see that here today. I can guarantee you that. The way these drivers are closer to each other, we will be seeing the dreaded big one. And it could play a doozy of who's going to be in the chase for the championship. Think of it like a wild card race. Talladega is also a track where it caters to the underdog, a driver who is struggling in the points. So that's something we have to keep our eyes on during the course of that race. Also, keep an eye on that yellow line. That is out of bounds. These drivers cannot go below the yellow line unless they have an issue. Ponzo Albanese, here comes baby CJ, who's been dropping through the points the last couple of weeks. As by the way, the premiere is finally over for the Winston Cup race at Sonoma. As I'm recording this, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm not going to spoil who won the race. CJ, by the way, 26 in the points. Needs a good run. It has not been the best last few weeks for baby CJ. As Ponzo Albanese will lead the lap. Albanese comes into this race 19th in the points. A win for him would get him into the playoffs. A win for any of these charter drivers like the 4 who's really been struggling in the points. That would get them in the playoffs, providing they stay in the top 30. Oh, somebody's in trouble. That's Anthony Ricci. The engine has let go on the 62. And Anthony Ricci, who is making his third start of the year, he is officially out of this race. What a tough break for the guy from Maryland, which will be going to his home track very soon, which is Dover. That would be the closest they would get to a home race. And what that did is broke up this pack. So Anthony Ricci's day is unfortunately done. As I got a message. As Troy King leads the race here at Talladega. Who did this impede? Ben Erickson, Senor Sean, Grace Takayama. That's Alex Hawkins, Muhammad Zain. Our pole sitter, Rena McShane. And also Ian Griffith. This may be good for these drivers. Even though they lost the draft, this may be good for them in case we have that big one in this lead pack, which is now 33 strong. So if these drivers start wrecking, that might be a good strategy for them to hang out at the back until the end of the race. Let's go on board Daniel Witter in the 20. No rain in the forecast, so that's good. Handling not going to be a factor, though, in this race. Excuse me. Apologies for that belch. You see them lifting out of the throttle. Didn't see a lot of that at Daytona, even though Daytona we went caution free. Of course, we're running 4 less laps than we did back in the 500. These drivers just taking it easy. Right now, as of this recording, for anyone asking, it is 18 degrees outside my window. It feels like 1. And as of this recording, I have a wind chill warning that will expire at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, as I'm recording this. As that's Gitirokh who's forward. Oh, there they go. There goes Tatiana Guerra. There they go. We're wrecking in turn number 3. That's a lot of kind of surprised that's not a lot of drivers. That's big for those drivers. Oh, look out, look out, look out, look out, look out. That was dicey. Caution is out. Cody Magouryk got involved. That's big for Sean and them who hung out the back of the field. That was a good call. It's like Jackie Tanks got damage to the Abenhill Dodge. And the caution is out. Unlike Daytona, we did have a crash. Paul Minnick led us back to our first caution of the day. So we did have a crash. So the caution, our first of the day, Tatiana Guerra. Jacob Chuchu's got some front end damage on his machine, so. And we also have those 13-gallon fuel cells, which pit stops could play a factor, which we'll find out if these drivers are going to pit in a moment. But first, we're going to jump back, look at a replay, to see what happens. We had a little big one in the early stages of the Geico 500. It's amazing that we didn't have a lot of drivers involved in this first caution. As let's take a look at the helicopter cam. That would be giving us our... Okay, here we go. Here's a good angle. I don't know if the 87 came down or the 2 came up. Whatever the case, the 2 of them got tangled together. And then they just take each other into the grass. And unfortunately, they're not going to slow back down. And then up into the field they go. As Adina almost got a piece of Gitirokh. Jackie Tang got stuffed into the wall. Alina Ricci. There's Scarlett Wallace. It's no wonder we didn't have any more drivers involved in this wreck. The 87 is riding on top of the safer barrier. That's Naguera, our winner from Nazareth this season. It's no wonder we got away with a little big one. A lot of damage to Daniel Gitirokh's machine. Also good, and that's a big break for all those drivers that lost the draft. It gives them a chance to get caught back up. Oh, close calls there from Zain and Ericsson to avoid not spearing the Arby's Ford, the Haas Ford, or the Red Bull Chevrolet. And I think Tatiana Guerra's car got stuck on the apron. Unfortunately, had to teleport to pit road. A lot of damage to the 41 of Alina Ricci. So a lot of drivers involved in this first caution of the day. We're going to jump to the restart here in Dega. Green flag going to come back in the air on lap number 15 of 66 as we are still in the early stages of today's race. Zachary Fitzwater's team got off pit road first. He's the leader. P McShane in second. Jacob Foster in third. J Ard in fourth, with Paul Minnick running out your top five. Sam Davis is sixth. Lucy Granger second in points is seventh. Carolina Bradley eighth. Ninth is Emmanuel Hartnett, and his teammate Emily Andersen will complete the top 10. Drivers out after this incident. It was a camshaft that let go on Anthony Ricci's car, so a tough break for him. While we were under yellow flag and looked back at a replay, Daniel Witter, unfortunately, the car overheated. Unfortunately, had to push it back behind the wall. Tough break. Oh, got another car up in smoke. We'll document that in a minute. Vanko Seaman is out of the race. Need to find out why he's out of the race. I know Adina Almash, Jacob Tutu are out of the race. But why? Oh, that's why. This might be why the four's out of the race, and the four's been asked to see the stewards. Gets into the 45 of Arena McShane. Jessica Parker runs into the back of the 45. So Parker's got damage, and that's why the 4 car got shoved. Oh, and Grace Takayama got a piece of it. Didn't realize Grace Takayama got a piece of that. So Grace is going to have damage on the Napa Chevrolet. Remember, Grace comes in this race at critical 30th in the standings. Jessica Parker top 10 the points. That is not what she needed. And we're back to green here at Talladega. So, yeah. Well, we know Jacob Tutu ran the back of somebody under the yellow flag. That's why he's out of the race. And Vanko Seaman's dismal season is going to continue. Vanko needed a good run to get away from, to get out of the cellar of the points table, and looks like that's not going to happen. As P McShane leads this race in the Wood Brothers 21, looking for her first career win and possibly clinch a spot into the playoffs, providing she can remain in the top 30 in the points. Before I started this race, I just got done taking a shower. Daniel Witter, 28th in the points. She could not ill afford another poor finish. As now the field's being broken up. I think it's because of Jessica Parker. And yes is the answer. It's like Jackie Tang and also Grace Takayama. Takayama was for that pit lane collision with the 48. Gitirokh lost the draft. Looks like Zane and McShane got held up. Same with Senor Sean. There's Cody Magouryk. Hanzo Albanese, Alina Ricci. Alina. I think it's Alina. Yeah, Alina. Lena. Because I know the deal will say Alina instead of E, like the letter E. There's Kyle Langland. That's Teal. Keoman in the 71, 1 week removed from his first win of the season, right behind Alex Hawkins. So Jessica Parker will not go 2 for 2 in the restrictor plate races, as baby CJ is going to get caught up by Ian Griffith in the 44. Now these drivers right here, this is our lead pack for right now. But they came to pit road very early in this race, so they're going to have to pit at least one more time to make it the rest of the way. Because remember, we have the 13-gallon fuel cells, so these drivers are going to have to come to pit road before the race is over. Vanka is probably going to get overtaken by Chase Brooks as far as the last place in the charter deal is concerned. Dylan Ebrahimian. There's Carolina Bradley. Holy cow, it's already snowing in Denver. What the heck? It was like dry in the first half. All of a sudden, Mother Nature just reared her ugly head with snow. What the heck? I just looked at that. I'm like, what the heck? Good thing it's dry here in Alabama. And there's Emmanuel Hartnett in second, Jacob Foster in third. This is what Jacob Foster needs. Not only if he can get a good run here today, this could help him get away from 30th in the standings, if you ask me. Chase Brooks needs a good run. He is 40th in points, dead last of the charter drivers, as we're going to be coming up to lap traffic very soon of the 9 of Grace Takayama. Remember, Grace was the one that got into the back of Priya McShane, or not Priya McShane, excuse me, Arena McShane. There she is. Remember, that's second in, or no, that's ninth in points. I keep thinking it's IndyCar when it's not. Don't think Arena McShane's going to be happy about this. Remember, that was causing a collision in the pit lane, which we all know what the punishment is that now, don't we? I know in the Monster Energy series, that would be a little trip to the big green truck to explain your actions to the officials, which is almost like a principal's office visit, if you ask me. As they have caught Grace Takayama, now holding up the leaders. There's a good chance for a lot of them that have lost the lead pack to catch right back up. As the 9 car is really trying to hold up a lot of people, holding up Lucy Grainger second in the points. And here comes that second group. Oh, Maddie Crenshaw's gone up in smoke. Oh, this is going to be... Oh, there they go. Hartnett got into Crenshaw. Oh, they're going to wreck. Oh, no. Yeah, they are going to wreck. There goes Fitzwater around. And that was all cause of the lap car and Maddie Crenshaw. Oh, this is going to be big. Oh, Langland hard into the 16. Caution is out. And it's got the points leader involved. Senor Sean's got damage to the back end of his 99. Oh, my God. That was all cause of the 23 blowing up, held up everybody, and that, my friends, is the big one. Oh, my God. Now they're stacking up under the yellow. Come on, guys. Let's get in line, please, and thank you. Would be nice. Oh, nope. They're not going to get in line. As they're like 4 wide under the yellow. Fitzwater, I know, was the first driver that got turned around. And the second caution of the day is out. Lot of hard hits. We're going to jump back, look at a replay to see what happened. Looks like we're going to have more pitch strategy. As looks like Priya McShane's going to come in. I think Paul Minnick. Nope, Jacob Foster's going to stay out. So Jacob Foster will get this lap led. So let's jump back, look at a replay to see what happened. The big one strikes in turn number 4, not even at the midway point of today's race. See, while everybody's dealing with the 9 card, this is what causes the yellow. Watch the 23. Bang! The engine lets go in front of Carolina Bradley. So this is the problem here. As Hartnett runs into the McDonald's Chevrolet, everybody is stacking up, and I don't know who turns Fitzy. Or Fitzy got in the 47 of Hawkins is what happened. I couldn't tell from that angle. Okay, here we go. Here's another angle. Or did he hit Ozkan? Looked like he got into Ozkan, then bounced off Fitzy. How did Riley Andersen miss that? I don't know. There's nowhere for Ponzo Alvarez to go. Yep, Ozkan got turned into the wall. Riley Andersen got a piece of it. There's Kyle Langland's going to spear the 16. Good night. That really, in my honest opinion, should have been avoided. Unfortunately, we have had the big one. Now, how the 6? Oh, she got in the Riley. And then Baby CJ just cleaned out the quick tie Ford. Sam Davis got some damage to his HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. Samad Ozkan was the one that got hit by Ponzo Albanese. That's why Kyle Langland hit the Lee Filter Chevrolet in the passenger side. Wham! That's a shame. And then the 66 gets hit by the 16. Now, how did Sean get the damage? That's what I can't understand. Because, oh, this must have been on pit road, wasn't it? Let me look. Or it must have been from that stack up. Hold on, let's see. We're going to investigate why Sean's got damage. Okay, Sean's taking tires. Okay, let's see. Goes around the 4. Oh, wow. Sean just got rear-ended by Adina Almas, which I didn't see that. Well, that would explain why Sean's got damage, why Adina Almas is out of the race. Boy, I don't know what Sean was thinking there, but we're going to head back to the restart here at Talladega as we now found out why Sean's got damage. Going to go back to green on lap 27 of 66. So now we've answered a couple of questions why Sean had damage and why Adina Almas was out of the race. We know Jacob Chuchu ran the back of somebody. Out of the race from this incident, William Davis just had an engine problem. Kyle Langland, Ponzo Albanese, Matty Crenshaw out of the race. Kind of surprised only 3 of them are out from that big wreck, but we have had the big one as a result of it. Top 10 as we go back to green are Jacob Foster, the leader, Paul Minnick in second, Emily Anderson third, Chase Brooks in fourth with Jesse Ard in fifth, Dylan Ebrahimian sixth, Eric Stanbury is seventh, Troy King eighth, ninth, Quentin Moore, and 10th is Emmanuel Hartnett. How bad is the damage on the Fastenal Ford after the contact with Matty Crenshaw is going to be the question. And are these drivers going to have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way? Something tells me they are not going to make it the rest of the way. Something tells me we're going to have another yellow before this thing is over with. Pace car is off. As we'll be at 40 laps of racing to go here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Talladega really playing its part in a point shakeup, and we're guaranteed a point shakeup heading into next week's race. Green flag back in the air. Of course, Samad Ozkan was involved in that big one we just saw a moment ago. Got a car on the apron. It's Ian Griffith. Looks like something has let go on the Green River Chevrolet, and Ian Griffith will be out of this race as a result. What a carnage race this has become, if you ask me. The good news is Sean wrecked the field. The bad news is Sean caused an incident under the yellow flag, which I definitely would like to have a word with him if something broke on the car, because that wouldn't be like Senor Sean to cause an incident under the yellow flag. Don't know if he had to change ignition boxes to where he had to go to a backup ignition is why he was slowing down and why he got rammed in the back of Adina Almas. But whatever the case, that's a tough break for Adina Almas. A lot of drivers involved in that. 2 cautions. It's a camshaft that let go on Ian Griffith as he did take his car back behind the wall. He actually, I think, as he already coasted all the way back to the garage area, so he will now join all of these drivers all out of the race. 11 of the 42 starters will fail to finish as of now. We have 31 on track, 29 on the lead lap, and we're going to have a new points leader when this is all said and done. Chase Brooks, the last remaining RCR car, because Ashlyn Wright failed to qualify, and his good buddy William Davis out of the race. I'd be a little concerned about Chase Brooks because of his teammate going out of the race overheating. I bet you they probably took some tape off the grill of the Cheddar Chevrolet. Of course, that's where I used to work at is Cheddar's, not anymore. But I still come and visit every time. I still do my annual monthly visit with, of course, Miss Pat and them, because I still have a promise to keep. As we're nearing the midway point of the race, well-needed point for Chase Brooks, because he has had a tough season. He does well he's got a good car, but just doesn't have the performance. And let's see where the gal that came as race second in points, running in 11th, that is Lucy Grainger. Remember, she is second in points. She is the gal that's trying to run down Samad Ozkan for the points lead. Didn't even go over the points, by the way. Let's exclude the non-charters, because now we have what? 4, 5. Actually, we have all but I think one of the non-charters. Let me see. The only non-charter that hasn't been involved in an incident is Ben Erickson, who's running really well. He is like the highest of the non-charter, running in 14th. Good run for the Swede. So if you exclude the non-charter people, we already mentioned a couple of drivers already who really could not ill afford a poor finish. Adina Alma, Vanko Seaman was one of those drivers we just talked about. Let's see. We also talked about Daniel Woodard, 28th in points, who's out of the race. Adina was 16th in points, so she's going to drop through the points after today. William Davis, 7th in points, out of the race. Kyle Langland, he was, if I can find him, 27th in point. Oh, no, Ebrahimian's blown up. As the engine has let go on that 2311 car, and Jacob Foster is going to lead, but that's a shame for Ebrahimian. He will now be out of the race. That's 4th in points, by the way, out of the race. Now we're going to have 12 of the 42 starters failing to finish right now, as of now. or by the way, at the midway point of this race. But back to what I was discussing about. Riley Anderson, who was involved, was sixth in points. Samad Ozkan, who was involved, that was your points leader coming into this race. Ponzo Albanese, 19th. Matty Crenshaw could not ill afford another poor finish, 31st. And of course, Arena McShane, who was involved, 9th in points. And Jessica Parker, 10th in points. So a lot of drivers who came in running very well in the points did not need something like this to happen here at Talladega. And Talladega has played its part in a points shakeup. We are absolutely going to have a points shakeup heading into next week's race for the Foster Series, which next week we're going to go from the high banks to Rockingham, North Carolina, where tires are going to be a factor. There's Lucy Grainger. Right now, they have caught Jacob Foster. I knew that was going to happen. Looks like Chase is going to take the lead on the high side. Looks like Arena McShane in the 45. Looks like she's coming off pit road. Wonder if that was scheduled or not. They're also coming to lap the points leader, the soon to lose the points leader, Samad Ozkan. As Samad Ozkan's going to go a lap down, just past the halfway point of this race. And if Chase Brooks goes to victory lane, he came in this race 31 points behind the 30th in the standings cut line. So if Chase Brooks goes to victory lane, we're going to have to see what his gap will be between himself and 30th in the standings. The good news for him is that a couple of Gorgo homers failed to qualify, which was Annie Thomas, who, by the way, will not be in that 50 ride, as Jacob Foster is going to take the lead. Jacob Foster's one of his drivers, Evelyn Gray, she's going to be in the 50 car next week at Rockingham, North Carolina. So we'll be seeing Evelyn Gray in the 50 ride because Annie Thomas, who currently drives the 50 in this series, she's going to be missing some races due to her commitments in the TM Master Cup Series as well as in the Fark Low Dollar Series for the same team she's driving for, which is World NOS Racing. World NOS Racing DVR, you get what I mean. And of course, I know Annie Thomas has been down. She's, like I said, Annie Thomas has failed to qualify for all the special events as Jesse's going to take the lead using the 66 as a pick, holding up the Progressive Chevrolet. So Jesse will lead a lap. Jesse's the only Trackhouse car that has not been involved in an incident, although I probably suspect that may change. And how is Senor Sean 13th? How is Senor Sean in 13th? Despite all the problems that's happened with him today. Good grief. Good run for Senor Sean. Ben Erickson's lost the draft, but he's got no damage. That's still a good run for Ben Erickson. He runs that same number, by the way, in the Monster Energy Series at 96, except he runs a Ford Mustang for World NOS Racing. But Evelyn Gray will be filling in for Annie Thomas in the races Annie Thomas will have to miss because, in case you're not aware, as Riley Andersen's about to go a lap down, which, by the way, she's being a great teammate and Riley Andersen being a great teammate to Emily Andersen, the two that are not related, by holding up the entire field. The 6 car is being a great teammate to the 60. Go figure. But back to the Annie Thomas situation. This was already planned before the season. And, Annie's not running for the championship. She said, look, I'm not running for the championship. I got really nothing to lose. I'm just out here just to have fun and all that. And, I really, really need to show everybody that I can win the Independence Trophy. Which, yes, she is a part of the Independence Trophy in the Master Cup Series. I'll probably message Sign On if he can send me the car for send Annie's car to me so I can save it on my game. That way I have it download it. But of course, Annie Thomas running the number 62 Fernando's Chicken Ameca, which is something that we are using for the Independence Trophy, the Ameca. Of course, our team is not just a WRA team, we're also a team from the ASCC. Which I haven't asked Siege if we're going to be having another season because I'm really enjoying the ASCC, to be honest with you. And I may ask him if he can send me my ASCC cars to me so that way I have it in my game. So y'all can enjoy my paint scheme. As we're starting to get into a nice green flag run here. Of course, Emily Andersen a few races ago was like 45th in the points. She's climbed up 20 spots the last few weeks, up to 25th in the standings. Jesse is 23rd in the points. And Chase Brooks, as I said, comes in this race in that 40th in the standings. He will bypass Tatum Wright and Ashlyn. He will also bypass Annie Thomas as Jesse's coming to pit road. Looks like this must be a scheduled pit stop. Excuse me. I think all of the Jacob Foster's running in 7th. 7-11. Oh, thank heaven. But back to Jesse. I think some of these drivers that did not come to pit road under that last caution are coming to pit road now. And Jesse is pitting with nobody, which is not going to do her hopes any good. As now this pack is going to catch up to the 60 and the 8. Since we're starting to get into that green flag run that we've been talking about. Next week, these drivers will race at Rockingham, North Carolina. Pole day qualifying on Saturday, or not Saturday, excuse me. Pole day qualifying next Tuesday at 3. Next Wednesday at 1. It'll be our 8th race of the season. So hope you will join us for the races we got coming up on the channel. We have yet to have our next crown jewel event will not be until we go to Coca-Cola. So these are the next couple of races we got on the channel. Rockingham, Gateway. By the way, it's the day version of Gateway. Dover, Pocono, Lowell Super Speedway, which the last time Lowell Super Speedway was on the Foster schedule, all the male drivers failed to finish in that race, and it was an all-female winner. As Chase Brooks, by the way, came to pit road. So we are looking like we're having pit stops here in the closing stages of this race, which I really kind of expected that because I really don't think these drivers are going to make it the rest of the way on fuel, especially when they have 13-gallon fuel cells and they're going to have to make some pit stops. I know they will have to make pit stops at Rockingham because if you stay out at Rockingham, you're going to regret that decision. And it looks like Jacob Foster and Eric Stanbury is coming to pit road along with CJ Bracken and Emmanuel Hartnett. Probably checked that right front fender on the 17 when he sideswiped the 23. Hopefully they didn't have a tire rub. And I know I'm going to get hit with a frying pan, but to be fair, I'm going to just say it only once. We will wrap up the first half of the regular season at I-69. Thank you to Seth Cole for sending me that track. That track, almost similar to like the Autodromo Daniel Estevet, which is in Brazil, which Sidon made that track for the round of Brazil in the Master Cup Series. So if anyone's wondering where the Autodromo Daniel Estevet is from, it's from I-69, which is a recreated track. So there you go. You learn something new every day. Then you look at the second half of the regular season we got coming up. We got Charlotte, the return of North Wilkesboro. I can't wait for North Wilkesboro. I'm a former winner at North Wilkesboro in another NR series, and I won via tire strategy. And that race will be a tire strategy. The premiere that just ended as of this recording that just ended on my channel, Sonoma. Don't know which version of Sonoma I'm going to use. I don't know if I need to use Papyrus version or if I need to use the 2013 version of Sonoma. Either way, we're still going to wine country. Kansas Chicagoland, which, by the way, going to say this to all of you right now. I will be getting an updated Chicago and Kansas. I'm still debating which version I like best. My guess, I like the 2014 Kansas because it provides some good racing, and it's a night race, so I would like a night race at Kansas. Chicagoland, I could do a night race. Then we'll be at Las Vegas, Phoenix. Still debating which Phoenix I'm going to use. Don't know if I need to go old school or need to upgrade Phoenix. I'm more than likely going to quote-unquote upgrade Phoenix. So I can stop using the Papyrus version and use a good Phoenix that I like. And then Auto Club, which I'll throw a disclaimer for anyone. I got a new Auto Club last night as of this recording. After I finished uploading Pole Day Qualifying yesterday as of this recording. And then we're going to Arizona Speedway. That is similar to Kansas. Then we have Watkins Glen, which, by the way, just got a new Watkins Glen today. We're using the 2011 Watkins Glen. The Irish Hills of Michigan, still debating which version I'll be using. Hillside and 8 Bowl, that will be the regular season finale before we determine the 16 drivers that will battle in this season's chase for the championship. And then this is where the playoffs, this is what we have for the playoffs for the rest of the schedule, since we have nothing else to talk about other than Lucy Granger leading a lap and also gaining points on the guy she's trying to run down for the points lead, and she's also in heavy traffic. I believe she's also another driver like the 21 that already pitted under the yellow. As, by the way, Gitirokh's holding up Troy Kang. We are heading to Loudon. Yes, kind of rare do you hear me say Loudon starting the playoffs, which they used to start the playoffs back in the day, back around the old Chase era, so it makes sense. But it'll be the first race of the round of 16, the 1 mile Boston International Speedway, one of my favorite tracks. I'm a former winner at Boston, by the way. Another NR series. And then our first elimination race will be the final crown jewel, the Brickyard 400. When the checker flag waves, we'll have 4 drivers getting eliminated. That's after the chase grid gets put together. Then the round of 12 will consist of the Kentucky Speedway, the short track of Richmond, which will use the 2011 version, the wonderful Pistachios version. I like that version better. And then an elimination race at a dirt track in Buffalo Downs, which let me throw a disclaimer. Wait till you see the Winston Cup race at Buffalo Downs. It was a fun race. You're going to love Buffalo Downs. And then the round of 8, another dirt track, which is Oswego. Sebring, that could get spicy. We're going to be using a newer version of Sebring since somebody uploaded it on the website. It's the Wild Custom Sebring. Oh, that race could get really spicy. And then our final elimination race at Homestead. Yes, rare do you say the words Homestead, not the finale, Voiles. Because the finale will be the NRG on 3's Godfather track, Zenjoltis. As they're also putting Riley Andersen a lap down. Quentin Moore is also going a lap down. Of course, he's getting held up by all of these lap cars. Dylan Ebrahimian's out with a header issue, if I have not updated that. Zachary Fitzwater, who was involved in that big one on that last on that last caution, he's up in third. Quentin Moore. Still a good result for Quentin, 1 week removed from his first win of the season. Lucy Grainger trying to also take the points lead. Also, let me also remind you, she's also not only trying to take the points lead, but also take the rookie points lead from Summit Ozkan heading into next week at the Rock. Of course, the Rock will be called the Subway 400. That'll be next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, leading up into the Craftsman Cup Series event hosted by Galligan. Because I love Sean Galligan's series, and thank you to Sean Galligan for his suggestions and all that. Whether the CCS is after as it will be after the CCS is done or leading up into my race. So there you go. Down to 9 drivers on the lead lap. Minnick the last of them. 30 are still in this race. And that's because the 34 has put a lot of drivers a lap down. Because remember, the 34, I believe, came to pit road under that caution to just top off and go the rest of the way on fuel, which I don't know if that's a gamble you want to take at Talladega. But then again, we'll see if it will pay off or not. As it looks like Sean's coming to pit road. Let me confirm Senor Sean. Yep, Sean just came off of pit road, so yep, he just made a pit stop. I didn't expect fuel mileage to be a factor. It looks like the Patriots just won the AFC Championship game. Fair play. Really good competitive game, if you ask me. As we're about to be down to 10 laps of racing to go, and looks like Lucy Grainger's coming to pit road. So, yeah, these drivers had to make it the rest of the way, and they can't. Give me 1 second while I find my remote to change the channel. As Zachary Fitzwater's come to pit road. Now let's see where Jacob Foster is at. And he's going to go by those drivers. So I think Jacob Foster, I believe, would be the leader. Depending where the... Okay. Yeah, looks like Jacob Foster is going to catch these two, the 34 and the 21. Yeah, never thought fuel mileage was going to come into play in the closing stages of this race, but it is. Nevertheless, for Jacob Foster, this is a good result for him. And remember, he's one of those drivers that has a win and trying to stay ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. Jacob Foster is more than likely going to get away from 30th in the standings when this is all said and done. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the World Racing Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, rebroadcast, retransmitted, or any other disseminations or the use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the World Racing Association is prohibited. Blue Hedgehog TV and the World Racing Association want to thank you fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. As Jacob Foster got held up by Annika Ricci, so that's going to cost them some time, and that's going to allow Emily Andersen to catch up. Remember, Annika was involved in the big one back around the midway point of this race. She's already had a rough day as it is. And Emily Anderson's going to make quick work of the 66. As Jacob's going to get around Scarlett Wallace. Don't think Scarlett's going to give him any problems, excuse me. So we'll have 30 drivers, now 17 on the lead lap. S Ozkan just came off pit road. Remember, Summit is the points leader. And these two don't need to go side by side because you're going to just allow the three drivers to reel you in like a hot potato. You know, you look at these two girls... You know, Priya McShane, the only... Don't recall if Priya's ever... I don't think Priya's ever won a Foster Series race. And Lucy Grainger, who, is a lot younger than Samantha Grainger, who we saw in the Cup Series. As Lucy Grainger trying to look at the inside of Priya McShane, but the problem is these three drivers are going to start reeling them in. As Emily Andersen is trying to keep up with both Jacob Foster and Chase Brooks. This is a well-needed run for Chase Brooks and Emily Andersen. Ever since a good result after she came in that race 45th in the points, she's going to continue to climb through the points table. As we are coming down to 6 to go here in this race, the last thing Lucy Grainger needs to see is a yellow. But you also need to consider lap traffic going to play a factor in who's going to win this race. As looks like Annika Ricci came off pit road. As I say, hola de Senor Sean. Oh no, the 66 is going to pull up in front of the 11 as we have broken pipes for whatever reason. But Jacob quickly evades the 66. Annika Ricci, remember, she was involved in the big one we had. Don't know if they're going to have enough time to catch up unless the 34 and the 21 get held up, if you ask me. But still good results for these three drivers, especially that 8 car, because that 8 car has had a nightmare of a start to their season. So this is a well-needed run for them. And I do not know how in God's name earth is Sean in 13th. Jesse is 12th. And Fitzwater, who was involved in that big wreck, is 11th. The only problem is Sean is the only one out of the Jesse's the only one out of the three that's still left in this race that has no damage. And they're running 11th, 12th, and 13th. Even though Sean doesn't like losing to Jesse, that's still a good result, nevertheless, for Senor Sean. It could have been, as we have Dolphins going on, and traffic for the leaders. This is what I was just talking about. This is going to hold them up. Here comes Jacob Foster and company to catch up. That's Jackie Tang. Remember, Jackie was involved in our first caution of the race along with Daniel Gitirokh and A McShane. Looks like the 45's coming to pit road. Well, that's one way to move out of the leader's way, if you ask me. So it looks like A McShane had a problem. Thank goodness she got out of Jacob Foster's way. And Jacob Foster is catching them. The leaders are coming. Third place is coming. Arena McShane, Priya McShane, and Lucy Grainger. As we're coming to 2 laps of racing to go, and now they're getting held up. That's not doing them any favors of catching up. That's going to allow Quentin Moore to catch up. They were just caught up, but lap traffic had to rear their ugly heads. And now they're going to ruin what was going to be a fantastic battle. Now Cody Magouryk getting in Jacob Foster's way, doesn't know how to get out of the way, and that's going to hold up a couple of people, and that's going to allow Quentin Moore to catch up as we're down to 2 laps of racing to go here at Talladega. It may be these 2 girls that are going to decide this. One who's been under the Smart Motorsports umbrella, and one out of the Wood Brothers. As Jacob Foster's still getting held up. Jacob is going to be unhappy with all these lap cars that interfered with a chance of possibly winning this race, which is a shame, but still a good result nevertheless. As here we come, white flag. 1 more lap to go at Talladega, sponsored by Credit One Bank. There's the flagman waving the white. Next flag will end the race. We will race back to the checkers no matter what. And traffic for the leaders. This could play a factor who's going to win this race. Does Brooks and Andersen have anything to catch up to the leaders? Oh yeah, now they're definitely getting held up. Will it be enough to catch up? That's the big question right there. Down in the 3 for the final time. Is it going to be too little too late? Priya McShane looking underneath the 34. Remember, the start-finish line is past the tri-oval. Here they come for the final time in the tri-oval. I think Priya's got it. Priya McShane is going to win the Geico 500 here today at Talladega. For her first career Foster Series win, and has the Wood Brothers lock themselves a spot into the final Foster Series chase for the championship. Wow. You couldn't have asked for a good finish like that, folks. And Priya McShane came in this race 32nd in points. I talked about this yesterday, that this track caters to the underdog of drivers struggling in the points, and Priya McShane fits the bill. This win might have just gotten her back in the top 30 in the points just like that. Lucy Grainger will get second. She will more than likely take the points lead heading into next week at the Rock. Great run for her, and will also be the rookie points leader. Chase Brooks, well-needed top 5 run in third. He has had a rough go of it late. This will definitely climb himself through the points table. as he will come home in the third position. Emily Andersen, she's continuing to climb through the points tables as that good momentum has been very kind to her the last couple of weeks. She will finish in the fourth standing, so she will continue to climb through the points. 25th in the standings, will continue to climb. Jacob Foster, fifth place. That is definitely going to get him away from 30th in the standings. So a nice top five run for Jacob. We'll be seeing Evelyn Gray in the 50 car next week because remember, Annie Thomas has her Master Cup and Fark Low Dollar Series commitments coming up. So not bad for Jacob Foster. Paul Minnick will get 6. Now, Paul comes into this race. Where did Paul come into this race? Paul Minnick referring to. He was 5th in the points, and with the exception of Lucy Grainger, a lot of drivers ahead of him, with the exception of Lucy Grainger that had run into troubles, we're going to have to see where this is going to situate him. I think he may be 2nd or 3rd in the standings. It will depend how big the gap was between, Mohammed Zain as far as that's concerned, but he'll stay in the top 10 of the points leaving today's race. Eric Stanbury will get 7th. Eric came this race 11th in points. He will be in the top 10 of the points leaving today. Quentin Moore, 1 week removed from his first win on the season. He will come home in 8th. This will put him in the top 10 of the points just like that, baby. CJ, well-needed run for a driver who's been having a lot of bad luck the last couple of weeks as he comes home in the 9th position. Dropped 6 spots down to 22nd or 26th in points, excuse me. He will move his way back up in the top 20 in the standings. And Troy Kang had a quiet run, dropped 6 spots down to 18th in the points. He will finish in the 10th position. J Ard will get 11th. How about Zachary Fitzwater and Sean R? Both of them got involved in the incidents earlier in this race. In particular, Fitzwater got involved in the big one. Both of them come home 12th and 13th. Great run for them. Great run for Sean because he was about to finish, I think, 37th or possibly 35th. He comes home 13th with a damaged car. You got to give both Fitzwater and Sean a lot of credit. And they thought they were going to have pretty dismal days. They come away somehow, some way, top 15. So they really salvaged what was going to be a very bad day into something good. So, good job to these two. We'll have to see where this is going to situate them in the points. Manuel Hartnett had that right front fender damage. It was a shame. He was running in the top 10. Had that right front fender damage after making contact with Matty Crenshaw. Disappointed with 14th. And Ben Erickson had a quiet day in the 15th position. Basically just stayed out of trouble. And for a guy who has been on a hot leash with, Luke Knight. I bet Luke Knight won't be yelling at Ben Erickson this week. Thank God for that. And Alex Hawkins finished as the last car on the lead lap in the 16th position. All these drivers got put a lap down either due to pit strategy or getting involved in the big one, if you ask me, as you look on down to the rest of the finishing results. Mohammed Zain, he was a part of the I think a lot of these drivers, like I said, pitch strategy or got involved in the big one. Samad Ozkan, the rookie and overall points leader, 28. He was involved in the big one. Grace Takayama got involved in that pit lane collision with Jessica Parker, which I don't know how I wanted to end up 29. She never recovered after that. Annika Ritchie, 4 laps down in 30th. Remember, she was involved in the big one we had in that second caution right before the midway point of this race. As we had 30 drivers finish the race on track, 16 of them on the lead lap, and then 12 drivers did not reach the conclusion of the race. Ebrahimian Griffith were due to mechanical problems. Matty Crenshaw had a mechanical problem, but caused the second big one that took out a lot of drivers that really should have not been involved in the first place. So I think Matty Crenshaw is probably going to owe an explanation to all of these drivers that were out. And then Venko Seaman, Adina Almash, Jacob Tutu, Tatiana Gore, and of course Anthony Ritchie went out before the first caution of the race. He will finish in the 42nd position. And Venko Seaman, this is really going to put him probably in a must-win situation the rest of the way if he doesn't get himself